This is the project we're going to do today. It's called On the Beach, and this one is done on Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. I wanted to see if I could do some scenic stamping with watercolor instead of the traditional way that I've been doing it, which is on glossy cardstock and water-based inks and or alcohol markers. And these are the stamps that were used in this project. The grass is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 9. These two palm fronds were from Stampscapes Nature Sheet 4. The lighthouse and the water were from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 12. We used this trunk right here for the palm tree, and this is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 15. The birds came from a Stampin Up High Tide. This was a photopolymer set. And as I said, the water and the lighthouse were both from the Nature Sheet 12. This was from the Stampin Up Waterfront set. It's also a photopolymer set, and this is what I used for details on the sand. The umbrella was from Art Impressions 5118, and the boat was from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 12. I used Zig Clean Color real brush pens. The different colors that I used were 41, 31, 400, 52, 80, and 30 for the umbrella. The 31 and the 400 I mixed together for the ocean color, and the 41 was the green for the palm fronds. Number 60 I used for the lighthouse, number 60 and 901 for the boat, 75 for the sand, 62, 65, and 66 for the rocks, and 92 for the chair and the shadows. I also used a Uniball white gel pen and also a Zayar white oil-based paint marker. I stamped everything out with Gina K Designs black amalgam ink because this is an ink that's good for watercoloring. And I stamped onto Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, which was cut to 4.5 by 6 inches. And I tried doing this before on just regular cold pressed watercolor paper, and that doesn't work very well. And so I wanted to try the Bristol Smooth because it is a smoother cardstock and it can take a fair amount of water. And then I sealed everything up with Krylon clear acrylic spray. And let's begin. I'm going to use a 1/4 sheet of Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. This is 100 pounds cardstock. It's 9 inch by 12 inches, so a 1/4 sheet would be 4.5 inches by 6 inches. I'm going to use my Stampin Up stamp positioner, stamping platform, along with a Misty Creative Corner so that I can offset the page a bit. I'm going to put my Strathmore paper in here, and I'm going to start by stamping the umbrella and the tree trunk. I didn't have a tree trunk that was big enough for a palm tree, so I'm using just one of the regular tree trunks, and then I'm going to wipe off the edges so I don't get all the little twigs on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is position in the paper, remove my Misty Creative Corner, and then I've marked here I don't want to ink the very bottom of this umbrella. And so I'm just going to ink up the top part. And then I am using Gina K Designs black amalgam ink. This ink is good for watercolors, and that's what we're going to do today, is watercoloring. And then I'm going to ink up just this tree trunk right here. Going to take my stamp chamois, and I'm just going to wipe off the edge. And I prepared a mask for the tree trunk and the umbrella. Then I'm going to stamp the chair, the sailboat, and the lighthouse. Move my Mystic Creative corner. Okay, and I've created a mask for the chair and the sailboat. Okay, so now I've got the chair, the umbrella, the sailboat, and the tree trunk all masked. I'm going to ink up the water, and I've placed some tape here to show me which part of the stamp I do not want to ink up. I don't want to ink up this part, so I'll ink up all the rest of this stamp. Okay, now I'll remove the masks. Okay, now I'm going to ink up my two palm fronds. Again, I'm going to use the Gina K Designs Black Amalgam ink. And I will also just stamp some random fronds off this way. Okay, I'm going to color this with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. These are water-based pens. And I will start coloring the sand. I'm going to use number 75, Brick Beige. And I will just color in the darkest parts of the sand here. Okay, and I'm going to take a number 4 watercolor brush. I'll wet it and I'm going to squeegee off most of the water. And then I'm going to blend in this with the color that I just put down. Okay, I'm going to put some of this color down on a palette. Then I'm going to lift the color off with a wet brush and then just brush it on. Okay, to add some texture to the sand, I have this little stamp with just some dots on it. So I'm going to color these with the side of my brush, my Zig brush, the same color that I've been doing with the sand. Okay, for the chair, I want it to be a weathered white chair, and so I'm going to put on some number 92 blue-gray. I'm going to put the color on my palette, then I'll pick it up with the brush and I will brush it onto the dark areas of the chair. Okay, I want the slats on the back here to be really dark, so I'm going to brush some of that directly into these slats. And then I'll take my brush and just kind of soften that a bit. Okay, for the umbrella, I'm going to do a combination of number 80 violet and number 30 blue. So I'll put them both on my palette. Then I will just mix them together to make a blue-violet. And then I'm going to paint every other panel on this umbrella. And since it's curved, I'm going to leave a highlight in the middle of each one. Okay, for the other panels of the umbrella, I'm going to use number 52, bright yellow, and I'll put it on my palette again. Okay, for the umbrella handle, I'm going to use some number 65, mid brown. Okay, and I want to get some more of the blue and the violet, mix it together, And I want to darken the part underneath. Okay, and now for the dark yellow. Okay, and the umbrella pole, I'm going to really darken one side of it. Okay, for the tree trunk, I'm going to use some dark oatmeal, number 66. And I will just kind of randomly brush it. Then I'm going to take my brush, wet it, wipe off most of the water, and kind of blend that in. Okay, for the palm fronds and the grasses, I'm going to use a number 41 light green, and I will put it on my palette. And I'm going to use a small brush. This one is a number 2 brush. I'll wet it, and then I will just brush in some color. Okay, now the darkest part of the leaves, I'm going to brush the color on directly. Okay, for the lighthouse, I'll use number 60. This is brown. And I will apply it from the palette again and just brush it on the lighthouse. And for the lighthouse windows, I'll use some of the number 52 yellow. And I'll use some of the brick beige, number 75, for the rocks below the lighthouse. And I'll also use this to color in the dark regions of the rocks around the ocean. And I will take a damp brush to kind of blend this all in. For the boat, I'll use the number 60 brown again. And for the sails of the sailboat, I'm going to use number 901 gray tint. And I will take a damp brush and blend it out. Okay, and I'm going to use some number 62 dark brown, and I'm just going to kind of paint in some coconuts here. Okay, I'm going to use number 92 blue-gray, and I'm going to just add some shadow underneath the chair here, and I will blend it out with a damp brush. See, and I missed some grasses under here, so I'm going to, this is the number 41. Okay, for the water, I'm going to use a mix again. I'm going to use number 400 marine green and number 31 cobalt blue. And so I'll add both of these to my palette. Then I will take my paintbrush and mix these two colors together. And then I'm going to paint this on the dark parts of the water. And here I'm lifting the color from the white areas using clean water. Okay, and I'm going to use the same colors for the sky, but I'll dilute it out quite a bit. Okay, now I want to do the birds in the sky. And so I've put the foam in my Stampin' Up stamp platform because this is just a photopolymer stamp. Okay, and now I'm going to re-stamp some of these stamps. Okay, I'm going to take my number 75 brick beige, or let's see, yeah, brick beige, and I'm just gonna put along here where I want it to be darker. Okay, and I'll take my brush, squeeze off most of the water, and just kind of soften that. Okay, and I'm going to take my number 41 green and really darken the insides of these fronds here. Okay, and I'll put some of the blue-gray on my palette. This is number 92. And I will darken underneath the umbrella here. Okay, and I'm going to take the small grass here. I'm going to use my Gina K design amalgam ink. Okay, and I'll use my Signo Uniball. This is the UM153. I think I need to get a thinner white gel pen. I'm going to re-stamp this bird here. Okay, I'm going to use the cobalt blue number 31 just by itself, just to add a little deeper blue. Okay, let's see, and I need to add some highlights to these coconuts. Okay, and I'll try some of my Zayar oil-based markers, the white one. Make sure it's primed. Okay, I'm going to give this paint marker a chance to dry since it is oil-based, and wait a few minutes and we'll come back. Okay, I want it to be a little bit darker up here where the water hits. So I'm going to bring some more of the brick beige, number 75. Okay, now I'm going to sign and date it with the multi-liner. Okay, and I'm going to give it a little bit longer to dry, and then I'm going to spray it with my Krylon acrylic coating to protect the final piece. And after I'm finished doing that, we'll be back. And here's the final result after I sprayed it with the acrylic coating. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!